Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. We have another town meeting day related show as we get ever closer to the Tuesday, March 4th town meeting in Vermont. Happy to have alongside today St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith. Mr. Mayor, good to see you.
Richard, how are you?
Good, and I should note you're going to be good enough to join us. We'll do our usual coverage of town meeting day activities in Franklin County. We'll be on the air 8 to 10 p.m. next Tuesday night, Tuesday, March 4. And of course, Bridget Higdon, my key person, publisher of the St. Albans Messenger, and yourself. So thanks ahead of time for joining us. Yeah, it's a good night. Staff does all the hard work back there. So I should know we're taping this show on Thursday, what we got, Feb 27? Boy, almost out of February.
One more day.
Anyway, yeah, one more day. Boy, and this morning, boy, a little snow coming in at about, 7 or so, but I guess really messed up the interstate. I-89 from St. Albans, at least down in Exeter too, I guess was closed for a couple of hours with a number of cars off the road.
I think the squall caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, I heard the same thing. I haven't seen any details on it, but
I headed north to Highgate. It was just kind of wet from here to exit 21, so I didn't have any problems. But yeah, kind of a tough morning for some folks. Anyway, so how are you feeling about town meeting, annual city meeting 2025? Anybody, folks are aware of that, I hope? Much. Boy, going back a year, school budgets became such a hot issue a year ago. And kind of rightly or wrongly, it seems like the temperature's kind of turned down on that, but we'll see.
yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, kudos to the supervisory board, and the budget came in at 2% increase.
Maple Run Unified, 2% increase.
So, they worked hard. I think that was a message the board sent the administration, from what I understand. So it's, it's good. For sure.
And that was a very close vote a year ago. I think the first time.
75 votes or
something like that. It was the first close vote they've had, I think.
Yeah. So it'll be, I don't, but a lot of things are going on around the world, right? And the economy, people losing jobs, people afraid of losing their jobs.
Good luck if you're a federal employee right now. Hopefully Border Patrol folks are safe. If anybody's safe, I would hope Border Patrol folks would be safe, but what do I know?
Yeah, no, the areas that I thought would be safe, the veterans for sure, don't appear like that's been the case. But I think, and people are being ordered back to the office. So, you go from, working from home and not expending any gas or wear and tear on your vehicle now. A lot of people are headed back to Essex.
Good point.
So what does that do for their budget? Who knows? Everyone's different. But it'll be a concern, I would think, for some folks on how they vote.
Yeah, for sure. And even Maple Run, I guess, to even come in with just a 2% increase. I saw a VT Digger story, and then I happened to belatedly read Emerson Lynn's editorial, but I guess they reduced staff by 20. Did you see that figure? They reduced staff by 20, but most of those positions were vacant. VT Digger said there were just 3.5 full-time equivalent positions that they had to actually cut, but both Emerson and VT Digger had reducing staff by like 20 positions.
Yeah, and I think for the last 2 or 3 years, those have been vacant positions.
I guess they've had a lot of trouble.
I think last year was up as high as 30.
Is that right?
And to 20 that they were never able to fill the vacancies.
Wow.
So my guess is, from a management perspective, they've learned how to adapt.
Get by with less or whatever.
So,
interesting.
So I'll be curious to see how that turns out.
Yeah. So the city council, you folks have proposed an almost $14.4 million fiscal 2026 budget. And that's up significantly. And I know you've made the point that if you look at our track record over the last few years, but again, that increase largely hooked into more pay for police officers.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's a number that we've brought it down a little bit. It was in 9.5%.
Really?
I think the council and the finance committee brought it down.
Down to what, about 8% or so?
8.5, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of that is is the police contract.
Yeah,
As I've told many people, the starting pay for a police officer coming out of the academy for St. Albans was about $28 an hour.
huh.
And $28 an hour isn't
Just
much
doesn't cut it
anymore.
much. Yeah.
I mean, you can go work and have manufacturing pays 23,
Yeah.
and you go
I
home
mean,
at the
fast
end of
food
the day.
restaurants here up to like probably 15
Right.
anyway, or
18, 20, I
is that,
think.
wow.
So we brought the starting pay up for starting police officers to 31.50 thereabouts. Makes us competitive with other towns our size.
And everybody's looking for police officers. I mean, if you don't
Everyone's
do
looking for
that,
them.
you're bound to, I mean, boy, talk about a competitive situation out there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think Richmond and Heinsberg, which were one, are now going to two departments now, so they'll be looking for more help.
In fact, just read a story, again, I think it was a VT Digger story, about a real controversy
Yeah,
with
with
the
the new
chief
chief,
there,
yeah,
going
yeah.
from Heinsberg to Richmond or
Yeah,
whatever.
no,
Interesting.
he's not officially been appointed, I guess, is sort of
Oh.
what it sounded like.
Interesting.
So we're trying to be competitive.
Yeah.
We had 300 people in City Hall last May
Yeah,
who were concerned about public safety.
yeah,
As I shared the other night at the select board or the council meeting, we may do this, but we still need help from the courts to incarcerate folks
yeah.
as they're arrested. We just had, I think it's proven, we had the street crimes unit,
Yeah,
which did 2 busts last week or the week before,
yeah,
and arrested 6 individuals.
yeah.
But they were cited and released. They were
The
back on-
usual.
Yeah, so it's frustrating.
Yeah,
I hope our residents realize that the police continue to do their jobs, and now we need to get the legislature and the judicial side of things to toughen the court appearances, for
And
sure.
it sounds like there's been some slow progress on that, but maybe
There has been.
emphasis on slow. I mean, it sounds like they're getting the message, but boy, things don't change quickly.
You're right. We've made some headway for sure. The state's attorney is always in contact with us. He's readily available for conversation.
Yeah.
I think we've had, as the cycle of judges cycled through, I think we've had a couple good judges.
Yeah,
So we're optimistic about that. But you never know what the outcome's going to be as that cycle continues. Maybe you get someone who is more about no bail and releasing folks than what we have now. So we as a community, we as a city need to stay on top of that and make sure we continue to communicate our concerns.
yeah. Any other major changes in the budget aside from increased pay for police officers?
No, I think there's some departments made cuts, so to allow for those increases.
Yeah.
We've held off on buying a truck or whatever the case might be, so.
Yeah,
And we're waiting, I mean, as people look around town and see the added development, the Cathedral Square, when those come online, that's gonna give us more income.
looks like that's going well. 175 Lake Street, is that open? It's not clear to me as I drive by.
No, it's open.
I see an apartments for rent sign out front.
Yeah, so the situation with that, and I just met with the owner yesterday
Yeah.
or 2 days ago, is that for the development of the property, the owner received some federal tax credits for low-income housing.
Yeah,
And when you have that, you have to sort of flush your applications through a federal organization to give you a thumbs up or thumbs down.
yeah.
And that can take as much as 3 weeks.
Oh,
And then you can agree or disagree on what the recommendation is. And there's also a lot of applications that are going through that the owner's frustrated with because some of them are obvious no's
Yeah.
based on background and other issues.
yeah.
But they're still vetting them, and so
And we're talking, what, 72 units?
72 units, of which five are filled.
Oh, is that right? Just
Just
five?
five. So
Oh,
it
really?
is open. They're trying to find
But
tenants.
the work's done on the.
Yeah, and they're all good to go. I
Wow.
thought they did a nice job on landscaping and the parking
Yeah.
garage and all that.
Huh.
The main reason we met was to discuss about how do we get the word out. You know, we all hear that housing's an issue,
Yeah, that's for sure.
and it's impacting our businesses. So I will be reaching out to the manufacturers through, you know, Franklin County Industrial Development and just
Yeah.
asking them to post information or, and the guidelines are pretty strict, you know, so it's, you gotta be a certain percentage of the median income. And if you go over that by $500, you're not eligible. So make-
Cathedral
No.
Square seems to be moving along pretty
Yeah, I
pretty
think
well.
I think it's moving along very well. I think it looks good. I like the design.
Yeah,
I think it'll be great for seniors. I think they're looking at taking applications later in May, maybe, May
Yeah.
or June.
and that should be finished later this year sometime?
Yeah, I think December, but
Maybe late in the year,
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
I've lost track.
And meanwhile, looking at another 87 units in a nearby, another project very close to that.
Yeah, right
And
in
is
the,
that,
on
is
the
that
same
nailed
Fonda site.
down at this point?
We signed the agreement back March or February
Huh.
10th or whatever it was.
Huh.
So yeah, he's moving forward.
Interesting. The other main money item on the ballot is the underground storage tank under Houghton Park. Again, to deal with some of the combined sewer overflows that you run
Yep.
into once in a while.
Yeah,
Not an
that's-
exciting project, but it sounds like one you folks feel you need to do.
You just you offended me, Richard, because I was just about to say I'm the most excited about that project.
No,
And-
it sounds like you can make a very good case for that project.
Yeah, no, I mean it's been decades, and we as a community, city and town, we all, not everyone, but we both utilize the wastewater system.
Yeah,
We've been having overflows, and it's not that it's all just a straight overflow. It does get hit with
Get some-
chlorine.
some
and
treatment.
Some treatment,
yeah,
not all that we would like.
yeah.
And then it does end up in Stevens Brook, I guess, and ultimately the lake. So I'm excited that if we can pass that, I think we'll be one of the first communities to really address the
Really?
overflow issue. I mean, Burlington always has
For
overflows.
sure.
I think Winooski does as well. I think there's other communities that are having a similar situation
Yeah,
due to the size of storms that we're experiencing.
yeah.
So I think if we can get this in place, basically it will sort of catch and release. It'll hold the high flow during that storm, and then release the overflow on a slow basis as the system can handle it.
That's right. What's the construction time frame on that project?
I
You
think
know?
it's 18 months.
18 months?
Yep.
Will Houghton Park, will the football field be
Well,
okay?
the location is at the south end of the football field. I think there may be the opportunity. I think we have to look at it closer, but I think we can adjust the field a little bit
Yeah.
to make up that difference. But
Yeah.
we'll know better come spring.
Getting much reaction from the public to that project and the budget for that matter?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I think people understand both.
yeah,
I think, the thing about the overflow basin is that we have the opportunity to access 2.9 million in ARPA funds, and then there's $1 million potential forgivable loan. That would cut the cost of the project in half.
wow,
And so that would be a significant savings to the city,
yeah,
and well, not necessarily the city, but the wastewater users, because
Yeah.
that's who will be charged.
yeah,
And that could be, it's huge. If we don't do it, then years down the road, we may have to pay the full amount. Right now, it's the project's estimated at 6.9.
yeah,
We think, as with everything, if you wait 2 or 3 or 4 years,
yeah,
that 6.9 might be, 8 million, who knows?
right.
So we want to take advantage of the timing, and I think it's a big step for us to have an impact on the health of the lake.
Yeah, I should also know we're talking 3 seats at stake on the city council with the election, although no contested races. Tim's city council president these days?
He is, yeah, he took over for
Yeah.
Chad Spooner.
Okay, Tim Hawkins, longtime
Yeah,
Ward 1
to-
council
to-
member.
Yeah, to that point, I mean,
Yeah.
Tim's as knowledgeable as
Yeah, about,
anyone about the historic perspective of the council and what we've done in the past. And
yeah,
I look to him for a lot of guidance, if you will. I think he's, he's definitely has the best interest of the city at hand, and he's.
probably doesn't hurt that he's a lawyer too, that probably
That's
helps.
helped us. That's come into play a number of
Yeah.
times. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great to work with Tim on, and he's done a great job not that Chad didn't, both have been committed to the city over decades.
Yeah, Ward 2, we have a change, Newell Decker not running for reelection, and Lindsay Hun, who I haven't happened to met, but nice to see someone jump in there. You've met Lindsay, I can only
Yeah,
assume?
I knew Lindsay even before this,
Oh, really?
and she's,
Huh.
she started attending the council meetings, and I
Right.
think became more interested. Possibly didn't like a few of our decisions that
Yeah.
may have stimulated her, but
Oh, yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
We can, I think we have a good council. The other race is Chad Boudreau.
And that's a 2-year term for Chad, having been, I guess, elected to one-year term
Right.
a year ago after having been appointed for a short time. Is that how that?
He was appointed to fill the Chad Spooner's
Okay.
term, and that was 1 year.
And then got the last year of Chad's term?
Got last year Chad, so he'd be running for a 3-year term.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, everyone's a 3-year, all council are 3-year terms.
Okay, I know that, but I thought I saw on the ballot that he was just 2 years, because I think he had already served one
Oh.
year of that. I think I saw 2
You
years.
may be right, Richard.
Yeah.
I took it as I thought he completed Chad's last year.
See if I had that in
Yeah,
front of me.
you-
I think I checked that. I think it's the last.
I know better than to question you, Richard.
No, quite believe me. I question me all the time.
I thought it was the reverse. I thought he had 1 year to go, he filled it, and now he's running for a new.
Let's see, Chad Boudreau, he had 2-year terms, so I guess he's had one. Vote for not
Oh,
more than
so-
one, 2 years.
Okay, so we
Anyway.
appointed him, so now he has to actually,
But you're right, it's a 3-year term,
Yeah.
and he's got 2 more.
Yeah.
Anyway, so no contact. Well, that'll get the city council up to three women, three guys, too. That's been
yes.
a while since women have been up to 50%
Yeah.
probably. Wonder if ever. Anyway, I'm not hearing much buzz about town meeting. Again, a year ago, the school budgets were really getting folks worked
Yeah,
up.
school budget was definitely the issue for sure.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Montpelier. I can't imagine we're going to get to 5 supervisory unions.
boy, in fact, I went to the legislative breakfast in Swanton Monday, and that issue came up with folks like Dr. Jack McCarthy, just saying this is scary to me, but and a few folks mentioning, hey, throwing Franklin, Grand Isle County in with Chittenden County, which is the plan for
Right.
one of the 5 districts, just sounded crazy to
Yeah,
them.
being thrown in with the Sharks.
Right. So
We would not get,
Aye.
I can't imagine we would get much listening from that board
yeah.
with any issues that we had, or,
But again, this is going to take a while. Democrat,
Yeah.
you're hearing obviously reaction. I guess the legislature just got the official, 167 pages of the governor's
Yeah.
plan.
I think it's
So the-
interesting too that the NEA is rolling out
Yeah.
they had the students testify, or
Oh, is
at
that right?
the news conference in Montpelier.
Yeah.
You had teachers testify. I mean,
Yeah.
NEA is probably going to hit this one hard, and
Yeah.
I don't think the legislature has the will to make a significant impact. That's just me, but
Could be. And any changes, sounds like they're going to be probably years down the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what comes out of this.
Yeah.
Senator Randy Brock was at the legislative breakfast, and just in response to people saying, hey, we don't like these new plans, and Randy just kind of basically, hey, something's got to give. We're
Right.
spending too much money for average results with fewer students. Something's got to give, but, well, we'll see.
yeah.
I think people hoping for a drastic change that works better, boy, I'm not sure they should hold their breath too much. It'll be a battle.
Yeah, for sure. It's I liken it sort of to the pension discussion.
Yeah,
Everyone felt the need to do something about the pension, and
Yeah.
and when push came to shove, legislators backed down because of the power of the NEA and everything else that was going on.
yeah.
I think this is going to be very similar to that. I think, like I said, the NEA is already rolling out the
Yeah,
students and how we need to, this isn't going to help the students, so.
boy, so a lot of this may come down to just kind of local school boards doing what I guess they're trying to do to really keep expenses down and, reduce staff if need
Yeah.
be. Interesting. Any other legislative issue? I mean, I'm sure there are always issues that you're paying attention to. Anything in particular?
Well, I think the tone of the legislature is that it started out slow and still moving slow. The number
Yeah.
of bills, crossovers next week or, I guess next week after.
Yeah, soon anyway.
And so there's not a lot out there. So we're following some minor ones. There's a lot of workforce development ones relative to pay. Some things being proposed are the employee disconnect law, whereby as an employee you would not be required to pick up your phone or answer a text after hours.
Oh, really?
And the company, if they make an issue of it, can be charged $100 a day. I mean, that's just very preliminary legislation. I don't think it's going to move too far. The other one is farm labor would be paid overtime as with other entities. So there's a lot of, seems to be a lot of discussion relative to pay scales and who gets what.
Yeah, I asked, I guess, the first question at the Swanton Legislative Breakfast, and of course, with now a 13-member delegation, all Republicans. And I said, congratulations, the delegation has some committee vice chairs now, with Matt Walker, the Swanton rep,
Right.
Getting chairmanship of the House Transportation Committee. So I said, congrats on that. Aside from that, given your frustration in recent years with the demo supermajority, anything really changing now that the demos just have a simple majority? And they kind of said it's too soon to say, but nobody kind of jumped in on that. But,
Well,
Republicans certainly did pick up some ground.
Yeah, no, I sense the Republicans have a little more spring in their step for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
I think in the past they went down and, their voice wasn't heard.
Yeah.
They didn't have any impact on what came out of committees, very little, I should say. So I think with this, they know that they play a role now, that the majority needs to enlist their input, because they can if they band together, they can veto any of his, or sustain any of his vetoes. So I think they feel a little better about where they stand.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Any news on passport agency? Any better news or more hopeful news for you?
No, it's pretty quiet, although rumblings that the legislative pressure from Sanders and Welch, and mainly those two, have slowed the process and are sort of reevaluating Franklin County.
So are they on record as wanting, or are they indicating that they would like it to stay in St. Albans?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Michelle
really?
Monroe,
Yeah.
Michelle's been a big advocate and a big resource for us to work on that, to keep it here. So we've had good conversations, but it's very similar to what happened up in Morris's Line. Do you remember that, when they were going to close the port? And then everyone came out and had community meetings and everything else.
Yeah.
And then nothing ever happened. It just sort of quietly went away. And maybe that's the case here, I don't know. But Morris's Line hasn't changed at all since that discussion, which was 10 years ago.
Right. Of course, they've reduced hours at some of the smaller
yeah.
ports along the border.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Tim, with your Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation at Beta Technologies, some activity there? They picking up employment there, or is
I haven't checked in with them lately.
Yeah.
They've been focused on the building construction, or not construction, but rehab. Building looks great. I saw it peeked in the other day.
Yeah.
So that's their plan seems to be moving forward at the pace that they expected.
But they've got a ways to go before they're actually doing their battery work or whatever
No,
they're
they're,
doing?
they're,
doing that
yeah,
now?
they've got vibrator machines, they've
Oh,
got
really?
test vaults, they
Huh.
heat the batteries up and
Yeah.
wait for them to explode. I mean,
Wow.
there's a lot of that type of stuff happening.
Huh.
So, yeah, the battery portion of their business is all in at, as far as I know, at Energizer Building.
And down the road, we're talking significant employees there? Is that the plan?
You know, I
or-
think we were talking, the next phase gets them to 60 or so.
Yeah. Huh.
And then after that, it's, you jump over 100 in phase 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So as they add more space, it'll had, sort of coincide with the growth of
Yeah.
employees.
The labor shortage situation, is that, nothing changes much on that?
No, it's the same, and it's
Yeah.
sort of what I've said for a few years now, is that if,
Just trying to get
companies-
folks to stick around here and not drive to the Burlington area?
well,
for-
that too, but
Yeah.
if companies can't find help, they're gonna
Wow.
relocate, and we're seeing that with the
Wow.
Railroad Dispatch Center.
Oh, that's news to me.
Yeah,
Is that,
no,
you're
yeah,
losing them?
Not officially yet, but they've
Oh,
told
really?
us that if they can't fill jobs, they will advertise, and if they get employees in Jacksonville, Florida,
Wow.
those jobs will go to Jacksonville,
No,
Florida.
that's new news for me. So
Yeah.
they're having trouble just getting,
Just filling
really?
jobs.
how
and-
many positions there
No, they had
roughly?
70 at one point.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know where they are now, but,
Oh, geez.
so we've had conversations, you know, they've only been in their building for 2 years.
I mean, a new building, of
New
course.
building that they've got a 10-year lease
Wow.
with, so, or an 10-year lease, I guess.
Yeah,
So we're, you know, they're trying to find help, or the local people are trying to fill those voids.
wow.
But if they don't, they will end up in Jacksonville.
Yeah, geez, that's tough.
And that's the message I've been sharing, is if, you know,
Yeah.
it's not just the railroad. If
Sure.
Ben and Jerry's can't find enough help to operate and this is hypothetical, I don't want anyone to freak
Yeah.
out, Richard, but if they can't find enough people to run the line, they'll move the line someplace else.
Yeah.
No different than Milan or Perigo or,
Yeah,
you know, Ben and Jerry's.
and the county, you lost someone, was it K-Tech? You lost someone in
K-Tech
Richford a while
lost,
ago?
yeah,
A while ago?
K-Tech closed their doors. They use the building as warehousing. There's no production
Yeah.
coming out there
Yeah.
for the exact same reason. They
Wow.
couldn't find help,
Wow.
so they moved the production someplace else.
Wow.
And we're gonna, you know,
So
not to be a
that's tough.
pessimist, but we're
Yeah.
gonna start taking steps back. We've worked
Yeah.
hard, we, being all the communities in the county, FCIDC, regional planning,
Yeah.
we're gonna start taking steps backwards after decades of
Wow.
advancement, so.
Gee, that's tough. That's tough news. Franklin County Field Day site, new site, anything, any hope, and any chance, as you see it, for maybe one more year by the airport?
I think they're there one more year, right?
Oh,
They're
is that
there-
right?
I think they're there for this.
I keep hearing when they're there for,
I
the
think they got
last.
cleared through
Oh, you think they got another
August
year?
of 25, I thought.
Oh, okay. I hope you're right.
And then they,
Didn't sound like much progress on a new site, though? or-
they're having discussions with one, not nearly
they?
the size they wanted.
Yeah.
We received a grant to assist them with legal
Oh, really?
work when and if the time comes where they
Yeah.
buy a property.
Huh.
So they'll have money to offset the legal cost of it.
Huh.
So-
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's some movement. I thought they had one, you know, all my dates run together.
I hope
Richard.
you're right. It seems like every year I hear, when the event happens, well, this
Yeah.
is the last year they told.
And that's what it was for
I'm
24.
sure they're at least hoping for another year.
Yeah, that's what it was for 2024, and then they did get in one more
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
so.
And a welcome center off the interstate. I know you've given that issue any
Yeah,
new-
no, I was encouraged, I was
yeah.
encouraged that Secretary Joe Flynn sent a letter to GSA, because
Yeah.
GSA is doing a large expansion at the border
Yeah.
of
right.
the Highgate border
Right.
crossing. And he sort of was hinting that, GSA, the federal construction aspect needs some state land.
Huh.
The state would like to get some of the federal land
Oh, yeah.
for the Welcome Center.
Huh.
So that's what they were sort of pitching, and I don't know what the outcome of that was, but it's still on what I would hope is the front burner.
Huh. Very good. We'll leave it there. Thanks to St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith. Again, town meeting day, annual city meeting coming up Tuesday, voting in for city folks 7 to 7
Yes.
at St. Albans City Hall. Tim, good enough to join us Tuesday night for coverage from 8 to 10. Anyway, thanks for watching us, folks. Thanks to producer Alan Cunningham. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. See you next time here on Northwest Access TV. See ya.